The British Zulu War of 1879 was a brief but intense conflict that pitted the British Empire against the independent Zulu Kingdom in southern Africa. It remains one of the most famous colonial wars, illustrating the clash between European imperial ambitions and African military prowess. Despite the technological superiority of the British, the war highlighted the strategic ingenuity, bravery, and resilience of the Zulu forces. Background: the Zulu Kingdom. The Zulu Kingdom, under King Sethweyo Compand, was a centralized and militarized state in modern-day South Africa. Its military system, the impi, was highly organized, using age-grade regiments with strict discipline and coordinated tactics. By the late 19th century, the Zulu Kingdom had maintained territorial integrity and repelled threats from neighboring African groups and Boer settlers. British imperial ambitions. Britain sought to consolidate control over South Africa and unify the region under colonial administration. The independent Zulu Kingdom, a powerful African state, represented a barrier to British expansion. Tensions escalated after the Anglo-Zulu treaty negotiations broke down, with Britain issuing demands that threatened Zulu sovereignty. Causes of the war. Colonial expansion. Britain aimed to dominate southern Africa, secure trade routes, and control resources. Zulu military threat. The Zulu army's reputation for discipline and effectiveness was seen as a challenge to British authority. Ultimatum and invasion. In December 1878, Britain issued an ultimatum demanding disbanding of the Zulu army, which Sethweyo refused. On January 11, 1879, Britain formally declared war, initiating the campaign. Early battles and Zulu victories. 1. Battle of Isandlwana, January 22, 1879. One of the most famous defeats of the British Empire, where a Zulu army of approximately 20,000 warriors overwhelmed 1,800 British troops. British infantry, armed with rifles and artillery, were outmaneuvered by Zulu tactics, including the Horns of the Buffalo formation. Over 1,300 British and colonial soldiers were killed, marking a shocking early victory for the Zulus. 2. Battle of Rorke's Drift, 22–23 January 1879. Following Isandlwana, a smaller Zulu force attacked the mission station at Rorke's Drift. About 150 British defenders held off an attack by roughly 4,000 Zulu warriors. The British defenders were heavily outnumbered but used fortifications, discipline, and superior firepower to repel the assault, earning 11 Victoria Crosses. British response. The British reinforced their forces under Lord Chelmsford, bringing over 15,000 troops to the conflict. They utilized modern rifles, artillery, and cavalry, alongside strategic planning to overwhelm the Zulu Kingdom. British tactics shifted from frontal assaults to systematic advances, aiming to destroy Zulu strongholds. Key battles and campaigns. 1. Battle of Ulundi, July 4, 1879. The decisive battle of the war, where British forces formed a square formation with artillery support against the Zulu army of 20,000 to 25,000 warriors. The British inflicted heavy casualties while suffering minimal losses. The capture of King Sethweyo shortly afterward effectively ended Zulu resistance. 2. Zulu guerrilla resistance. Despite the fall of the capital, Zulu remnants continued guerrilla warfare in rural areas. British patrols and scorched earth tactics gradually suppressed resistance by late 1879. Reasons for British victory. Technological superiority. Modern rifles, artillery, and fortified positions gave the British a decisive advantage in open battles. Numerical reinforcements. Britain could bring overwhelming numbers of troops and supplies to bear against the Zulu. Strategic planning. Chelmsford's methodical approach neutralized the advantages of Zulu mobility and tactics. Division and attrition. The British destroyed Zulu food supplies and strongholds, gradually weakening the kingdom. Consequences of the war. End of Zulu independence. The Zulu Kingdom was annexed and divided into multiple chiefdoms under British supervision. Colonial consolidation. Britain solidified control over natal and surrounding territories, facilitating later union of South Africa. Legacy of heroism and tragedy. The battles, particularly Isandlwana and Rorke's Drift, remain iconic examples of courage, strategy, and the clash of cultures. Impact on Zulu society. Loss of autonomy disrupted traditional leadership, culture, and economy, with long-term effects on Zulu identity. The British Zulu War of 1879 was a conflict defined by both dramatic Zulu victories and ultimate British triumph. While the Zulu demonstrated extraordinary military skill and courage, they were ultimately overcome by industrial-era technology, superior resources and strategic planning of the British Empire. The war remains a pivotal moment in African history, highlighting the dynamics of colonial expansion, resistance, and the enduring legacy of cultural and military confrontation.